My name is Nicholas Sargent, and my fun, cute moniker is Dream Journalist DJ Dreamy. Tonight, I wanted to share with you and also interact with you, have a discussion about dreaming, and particularly about lucid dreaming and a method that I use. We might rabbit trail into some other things, but one of the methods I use is the wake back to bed method. But before we get started, let's do just a quick little bit of introduction. And I will ask Lacey, would you go ahead and maybe tell us why you are coming on? You told me just briefly before we hit record what your interest is in coming on this Lucid Dreaming Wake Back to Bed episode.
Hi, my name is Lacey, and I am really interested in dream symbolism and just what we can do in our dreams because I believe a lot happens in spirit in our dreams. There's a lot of real going on. And I'm excited to just hear from you and what you have to bring and share. I'm excited to know more what we can experience in our dreams. And that's about it.
Very good. Yeah, I'm on a similar journey. Let's say that here's the ocean, here's the ocean, and here's what I've experienced in dreams, and I want to go further in that too. So sometimes as I expand, like this December month, I'm expanding into this dream challenge where I'm setting a singular intention for the whole month to raise the vibration of the planet through dream work, which I've always come back to this idea of raising the vibration of the planet. Like, who am I? Why am I here on this planet? And so I thought, I'm big into dreams. Why not weave those two together? So going to bed with an intention is one of the tools I use. And I thought, focus on that. But I'm in your seat too, is what would happen if I did that? What would happen if people joined me in that? Some things you can see the return on investment, and other things you just leave to faith and let the results go where they are and see where the cards may fall and keep intuitively knowing what your next journey is. Start with Jeanette. Jeanette lives with me here at The Pearl, which is a modern eco-village in Collinsville, Mississippi. And Jeanette lives here as a resident with me. And we also have Gil Hodges of gilhodgesfreedom.com. You can go to gilhodgesfreedom.com. In fact, I'll just do a quick screen share of that so you can see that site, because he's done both of them have been very helpful to me. It appears as the gilhodgesfreedom.com site. If you go there, there's teachings, meditations, books, events, weekly online gatherings, retreats, all sorts of great things. In fact, he just came out with a book, Breaking Your Matrix, which is great because I keep seeing the connections with dream work and breaking your matrix. A lot of times in my dreams, I'll have just therapeutic things. The other day I woke up and I had a really charged, energetic dream where I had a lot of nostalgia, a lot of regret, shame, all sorts of things. And I just sat with those emotions for a while. But in Gil's book, he deals with the programming that we are all programmed with to feel certain ways and act certain ways. Anyhow, it's been great partnering with him. He started this eco village, brought Jeanette and I in. We've been enjoying community and been able to have more time to just work on the dreams. And even this broadcast we're on right now, I'm using his microphone, his studio, his expertise. He spent time with me the last couple hours just setting this up. So thank you. Thank you, Jeanette, for your support. And now I will go back to Jeanette to ask you, Jeanette, are you here merely to support me, or do you have any interest in dreams?
I have a lot of interest in dreams. Oh my goodness. I can remember dreaming as a child. All I had to do is lean forward in my dreams and I'd be flying. And yeah, so dreams have always been a big part of my life. And more recently, because of you, Nicholas, I've been trying to remember my dreams. Some of my dreams I remember, but most of them I don't. And unless they're really like, I feel if God wants me to remember them, I'll remember them, but most of them I don't. So I'm basically wanting to learn how to remember my dreams and how to wake up in the middle of the night after a dream and try to record it without waking myself up and staying up all night. Yeah. So yeah, I'm just really glad to be here. And yeah.
Yeah, that's probably like one of the most not fun parts is I like it now. Some people, it's like telling someone to do the cold shower or something like that. Like, I don't like doing that, but waking up at night, there's a couple of things you can do to remedy it. Like, I know you, Jeanette, I know you stay up to midnight and then you go to bed. But for me, we watch movies together here at the Pearl sometimes, and some nights I'll be like, all right, I want to get to bed by 9:30 because I want to get that first sleep cycle in so I can start waking up hour by hour and recording dreams. And I'll let Gil introduce himself real quick first, and then I'm going to go back to something Jeanette said about recalling dreams, and then Lacey, and just kind of what your desires and level of dreams. So Gil, why don't you introduce yourself? Like I said, you've been a great help just hosting and supporting. What interest do you have in dreams at this point in your life?
I will say too that until you moved here, I didn't have a great interest in dreams, but you have a big way of inspiring people to get interested in their dreams. And for me, I would only remember 2 or 3 dreams a year. And since you've been here, I recognize now of course, we dream all the time, but I'm actually aware of them a whole lot more. And for me, the purpose in all of it, and that's what is really interesting to me. The purpose is really also helping us digest what our brain, what our psyche, what we're processing. And that to me is what is important and interesting. And so just you being here at the Pearl and just always talking about your dreams and the different things that are going on has really, I think, inspired all of us to start looking at our dreams a little bit more and maybe a lot more to understand what's going on, what's really going on behind the scenes, because your brain is doing something. I don't think our brain is just stupidly showing us pictures and movies that make no sense at all. I believe thoroughly that the brain is processing things. It's what's going on? What's in the background? And for me, it's back to the programming. What have I been programmed with that is causing my brain to, in the subconscious arena, go over these things and want to show them to me in these odd, crazy ways? Anyway, a lot of good stuff, but I certainly am interested in supporting what you're doing and getting the word out and getting more people to get interested in this and pay attention. So thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, going back real quick to Gil's book, when he's mentioning the psyche and the processing, his book is already out there. You can go, I think he put it in the chat notes, how you can go out to the Breaking Your Matrix book, but he's also starting these authenticity groups around the book. And we're already going through his second book choice with those things and it overlaps with some of the things from Breaking Your Matrix, but Breaking Your Matrix has all sorts of tools and things to really break your matrix. And so as I'm looking through it, I keep seeing the liaison between that and dreamwork, because in Gil's book, he might have tools along the lines of tools to understand, identify a thinking or a process. And so it's coming from the beta state. When you're awake in the waking world, you're in what's called beta states, brainwave. There's beta, alpha, theta, delta. And beta is when you're walking around real conscious of what you're doing. I'm Nicholas Sargent. I'm a man. I'm this old. I live in Collinsville, Mississippi. Everything's, I got my identity. My ego is pretty set in concrete. But when you go into that alpha state, which is more the meditative state, the long car ride, just thinking about stuff, daydreaming, that state, or meditative, then you start going into alpha brainwaves. And then when you go into the dream state, you go down further into sleeping until you're pretty much unconscious. But when you get right in that place, you can start identifying what your subconscious is saying. So a lot of times in beta state, your subconscious is quelled because you're doing what you know to do, go to work, wake up, brush your teeth, and all that stuff. But in the dream state and in the lucid dream state, in that liminal space in between worlds. So I guess I'm still sharing Breaking Your Matrix. I'm going to pull that down. But yeah, I'm voicing the book for him, and it'll be out in audiobook. But as I'm going through the book and looking forward to those authenticity groups, which he has the link for there too. He's starting them up in January. So you can join an authenticity group, and anybody else who sees this recording, and we'll walk through it. And because I'm probably going to be joining one of those authenticity groups too, we'll probably weave in the dream stuff along with it. They dovetail nicely. Yeah, we'll touch base on each of these things that Lacey, Jeanette, and Gil brought up. So what I'll do is just start in my introduction. Nicholas Sargent, dream journalist, DJ Dreamy, living in the Eco Village, Collinsville, Mississippi. I moved here about 3 months ago, and I have been dream journaling steadily every night since March 2023. So was that 2.5 years or so, 800 plus nights. And I've probably skipped a night here and there, but pretty much every night. And then before that, there were long periods of a year or so, and I was doing it more solidly since 2020. So going back to Lacey's comment about wanting to progressively inch out. My latest major milestone was when I started a dream stream blog where I started sharing my dreams. And right now, my dream stream has one dream per day. And we'll look at that a little bit later because that's some of the things I have to offer. And I think Gil's maybe put some of them in the chat. But anyhow, I started offering those, and there's a fun process I go through with that. And then a significant number of them are lucid dreams. And so, what is a lucid dream? I think, Jeanette, you had mentioned that sometimes you want to record your dreams and you're more inclined to want to record your dreams when you wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, that was like a really important dream. So there's a distinction between maybe vivid dreams and lucid dreams. I'll put it out to you guys. You know what the difference maybe between vivid dreams and lucid dreams might be?
I do not know.
Yeah, okay. Very good. A vivid dream, let me go for the lucid dream first. Lucid dream is like when you wake up in the dream. And welcome, Michelle. I see your thumbnail there. Welcome to the show. A lucid dream is when you wake up in the dream. So like I talked about that beta state, when you're in the world, if someone said, hey, what's your name? I'd say, it's Nicholas Sargent. What gender are you? I'm a man. Where do you live? Collinsville, Mississippi. You know that stuff. When you're in the dream, you might have two contexts. One is you just wake up from a dream and you say, wow, I had a dream and I just reacted to it. Other times, and I've had this a lot lately, I have what I call a dreamnesia. I wake up in the dream and I'm struggling to remember who I am. I know I'm in a dream, but for the life of me, I can't remember that I live in Collinsville, Mississippi right now. I can remember maybe up to the last 2 places I lived or something like that. I might even be in my 10-year-old body and 10-year-old mind, and I don't realize that I'm a grown man until I wake up. So there's like these levels of lucidity. And what's weird about it is that it really reflects on what is consciousness and what is reality. Who are you? And can you time travel? When you do shadow work and they say something like, get into that meditative state. Now imagine yourself as a 10-year-old kid. Go over and talk to that hurt little 10-year-old kid and tell that kid it's okay when you just got beaten by your mom or your daddy or something like that, and help them through it. Well, the dreams help you do that because you end up being that 10-year-old kid. So the lucidity is when you wake up and you go, oh my gosh, I'm Jeanette, I'm Lacey, I'm Nicholas. And there's levels of lucidity in that. The vivid dream, I would think, is just like Jeanette was saying. You wake up and you're like, okay, I didn't know really who I was. I just had this cool dream. I woke up, but man, was it colorful? Was it energetically charged? And I think it's a dream I want to start writing down and remembering. So the question, and maybe this is, Lacey, tell me, you know what? Let me put this poll up real quick. I just made this fun poll. I'll launch the thing. Let's see what your level of lucidity is here. It's asking, how is your dreaming? I don't dream. I dream, but I don't remember it. I wake up in my dream. I'm lucid. Or I carry an intention into my dream. It's like you wake up lucid and you go, I know why I'm here. This is why I came here, and this is why I'm lucid. I see I wake up in my dream, lucidity, and I don't dream. All right. Lacey, back to you. Where are you in lucidity?
When you're sharing, I think of times, it's not always all the time for sure, but I've had times where I'm aware and I realize I'm in a dream. And I have one moment where 2 years ago, I'm in my grandparents' house where my uncle was living. And I was like, can you see me? Because I know I'm like not here physically, but I'm like walking around and I wanted to see if he could see me or not in the spirit, that if I was there to him. And I've had deja vu dreams and trippy dreams where like I wake up in the dream and then I wake up in the dream again. It's so trippy. It's like I'm having a dream in my dream. Right there. I'll leave it there.
Yeah, the deja vu, I haven't used the term the deja vu in dreams, but the first one you mentioned almost sounded like you're astral projecting. It's like you were walking around from there and it was just because there's that idea that dreaming, you're going into an astral realm or you're a dimension of the astral realm. And because a lot of us aren't shamans by trade, we might not quite know those distinctions. That's what I'm learning too, learning those distinctions. But having deja vu in a dream, I call it, what did I call it? I had a term for it. It's like gaining dream logic recall. Because sometimes in the dream, I'll have this whole backstory, like someone loaded a whole different I'll wake up and be like, that's not true. Maybe in the dream, I'll be like, yeah, I lived in Taiwan 3 years ago, and it just seems as real as anything. And then I wake up and I'm like, I did not live in Taiwan 3 years ago. Where did that come from? It's just some bizarre dream recall from somebody else. By the way, hello, Nick Mantello. Hey, thanks for joining. But then the last one you mentioned, dream within a dream. It's like the Russian dolls. And I think I had a dream recently where I had about 4 layers of it. I just kept dreaming and waking up in the dream and then waking up in another dream. I'm like, okay. So sometimes in mine, I'll go grab my phone. Jeanette was saying the other day we were working on getting her phone set up so she could easily just get in there without any obstacles. And I go to record on my phone and like I record the whole dream, right? I do all that work. Sometimes it takes me about 10 minutes to get a whole dream out. And then I click done. I put the phone away. And then you know what happens next, Lacey? I wake up and I'm like, oh crap, I got to do this all over again.
I swear I was the only one. I've never heard anyone else share this before because I have written down my dream in my dream before. And I was frustrated when I actually woke up because I didn't write it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When it comes to recording dreams, and I'll go back to Jeanette, she wanted to recall her dreams and remember them. And then after I make this comment, I'll put the question to you, Nick, which was basically like, hey, why are you on this? What's your interest in dreams? And we've had some people share their interest. Jeanette, she wants to recall her dreams. And Jeanette, my encouragement to you, I have this, I'll wake up and I'll just have this tiny little fragment of a dream. And I'm like, eh. So like Santa Claus was eating a pizza on a pool deck. There wasn't much more to it, but I call it, that's like my fragment method, and I pair it with this keyword method. But the fragment method is don't discount. You ever gone to work on Monday and someone says, how was your weekend? And you just had your weekend, but you cannot remember what you did. You just can't remember yesterday. And you're like, you feel like an idiot because you're like, and then all of a sudden you get this little thing like, oh yeah, I had ice cream. And then as soon as you do that, you're like, yeah, I went on a hike and I went to go sit on Santa Claus's lap. And you're like, you got all these things. And you're like, the file just opens up. The same happens with dreams. So as soon as I get that recorder out and I go, okay, I just had Santa Claus was eating pizza and I pulled, oh my God. And then the aliens landed. And then, oh yeah, that's right. And I met one of my guides. And then I asked my guide, oh my gosh, what the heck? So it's like the whole file starts opening up, and that, Jeanette, might happen to you. So I wouldn't discount it. The other thing that pairs with that is just general laziness. Like I'll wake up and I'll be like, just a little bit of fragment. I'm going back to bed. When it comes to laziness, I gave myself a pass about 3 weeks ago. I just got real with myself. I said, and I'm getting ahead of myself, but your first dream cycle, you probably sleep for 8 hours or a little bit more, a little bit less. But going back to Gil's programming, don't be programmed that you have to sleep all those hours. If you go to bed at 9:30 and you wake up at 2 a.m, yeah, go back to bed when you're done. But wake up, and it's okay to wake up. Use the bathroom, whatever you do. But if you have a dream, write it down. Now, if I'm groggy and I'm like, and I have a fragment, I'll still do it out of due diligence. I just say, hey, I'm dream journalist DJ Dreamy. I've got a mission here. So I pick up my phone and I start. But if it truly is a fragment and I don't have much more, I just go, all right, I'm going back to bed. Don't worry about it. But sometimes I've had amazing dreams that have 7 scenes in them. On my dream stream, that might be like 7 posts. But after that, I go to bed and usually I wake up at 3 or 4 o'clock again. And then I wake up at 5 or 5:30 and I have at least 3 dream cycles. And by the time I'm getting to those end dream cycles, I'm totally awake. Like the last dream cycle, I'll go on to that later. I want to get to Nick. I'll talk about the wake back to bed method when I do that. Nick, what is your interest in dreams?
Oh, I call myself a dream machine. I'm constantly dreaming. Lately, every time I fell asleep, so I'll wake up to go to the washroom and stuff maybe 2-3 times a night. But I do get to bed fairly early. I'm usually in bed at this time, but I saw the post. That's why I hopped on. But every time I wake up, every time I fall asleep, I'll go into a dream.
Yeah.
And I dream big time. And they don't ever make sense to me. And I only started paying attention after my spiritual awakening because of Joseph's dream. Some of the biblical dreams. And I've tried to take a couple of classes and stuff, but it never really materialized to anyone. And I just chalked it up that I don't read enough to have these prophetic dreams or these meaningful dreams. So I just left it at that. And now I saw this and I says, let me take another poke at it.
Yeah, thanks for taking a poke and thanks for staying up past your bedtime to get this in. Yeah, just like quick responses on yours, the dream machine. So I got this joke with Jeanette. I say, I'm DJ Dreamy, but you can call me Dreamy. Hey, are you Dreamy? Yes, I am. So anyhow, but you're the dream machine, and that sounds like a pickup line as well, Nick. So congratulations. As far as your dreams, you say, hey, they don't make sense to me. And paired with, you mentioned the biblical ones, so the spiritual awakening and seeing Joseph. So sometimes there's this idea that, especially from the biblical paradigm, like a dream has to be a portent of the future, or a dream has to be important. I have to have an important dream for it to matter. But dreams are, if you go on my dream stream and read some of my dreams, some of them are just like flat out ridiculous. But we also have a tool. And so I'd encourage you, we have this AI tool. So some people like into AI and some people are not. And like, no, we can just rely on your intuition. Don't go AI, or use AI as training wheels, or use AI and let's become cyborgs. So wherever you're at on that spectrum, I like to go by both. I like to do intuition. So if I have a strong energetic charge, maybe I have a dream with, say, 10 details in it, but I go, when Santa Claus was eating that pizza and he turned around and gave me that nasty look, it just pissed me off. Why did it piss me off? Going to Gil's book, it's what tether does that have into me? What do you call it? How am I provoked? Or what's that word you use? Oh, Gil, help me out. What's that word? You're provoked. I'm unwhateable. Got you again. Unoffendable, yes. Why am I not? Why did Santa Claus offend me? And it might sound dumb, but if you take your spiritual growth in baby steps and you look at everything as a sign and everything is important, I say, you know what? The universe just gave me some material to work with. And this is another thing about, are your dreams important? Like, maybe I watched the Santa Claus movie the night before and I go, just because I watched that Santa Claus movie, that's why Santa Claus is in there. Yes, but your dream, your subconscious is saying, how can I get through to this guy? He watched the Santa Claus movie. Let me use that as a building block. The point I'm trying to make to him is that he gets offended when people give him a nasty look because he takes it real personally. And so that's what I'm working on. So I go for the energetic charge, and that's one of the ways I use to intuitively interpret a dream. We'll get to the wake back to bed method in a second, but the rabbit hole we're on right now is just in dream interpretation. So up to an extent, I interpret my dreams, but maybe like you, I have that certain sense of, they just don't make sense to me. It's what does that mean? I put it in ChatGPT, and even though ChatGPT may or may not have the right answer, it like totally gets me thinking. It's if I asked Gil or Jeanette, hey, I had this weird dream, or to use that biblical thing, there's like something where I think someone was battling with King David. It's like in the King David books. And they're like, hey, I had this dream the other day. This loaf of bread rolled down the hill. And they're just like talking with each other. It's because King David's going to beat the crap out of us. It's something like that. So it was like they were just talking with each other. So I talk with ChatGPT, and sometimes I put it in voice mode and just have a little conversation. I load my dream in there and I say, mine's called Alara. I say, hey, Alara, let's talk about this dream. What do you think about that part where the Lamborghini fell in the river? That's interesting, Nicholas, and it knows me. So it might be talking about the fact that you're scared about this or that because of your recent chats with me. So AI might be a new tool in your toolkit. Have you used AI at all, Nick, to try dream interpretation?
Yeah, since I've been hanging out in our weekly gathering and I started to hear about AI and how you guys are using it, it opened me up to use it, and it's pretty freaked out. It's from where I come from, everything was demonic, and so it's hard to get into certain things without having something in the back of your head gnaw at you. But after I tried it, it was like, wow. Because a lot of it, how I interact with it, a lot of it makes sense. I started using it to help me out in certain areas legally. I was like so impressed that now I use it for every time I want to, like you said, talk to someone and someone's not there or want their advice, or looking some information up, I'm using it more and more.
Very good. Nick, while you were talking, I just noticed too that we have Dylan Hoffman with us. I don't know if he wants to be called out, but I'm totally going to call him out. Dylan, thanks so much. Dylan Hoffman and his wife, Heather, were with us for a retreat recently, and they work. Here's his website here, Shamanic Ananda. I'm just putting a plug in for him because he did some great stuff for us. And so anytime I can pay it back, that'd be great. Except that cookie. There you go. Yep. And so okay. So the thing with Dylan, he told me about a dream herb, right? So what I got right here, this is called Kalia Zakatachichi. And I bought this little bottle for, I don't know, somewhere between 10 and 15 bucks, I think. And Gil and I both tried it, and it's supposed to induce lucid dreaming, right? So maybe if Dylan gets on, he can tell me if I'm using it right or not. I did a couple drops into my tongue during like at 4 a.m. during my wake back to bed method, which I'm going to get into next. But I lucid dream all the time anyhow, so I wasn't sure if I saw the difference yet or not, but I've only used it 3 times, and I'll put that out to you. In fact, where's the chat here? I'll write that name in there. If I can get to the chat. Chatty chat. All right.
What is it, a tincture that you're using?
Oh, there he is. Hey, Dylan. Yeah,
What's up?
it is a tincture, and it's that Kalia Zakatachichi, and it's in 40% alcohol. And I just first time I did 3 drops under my tongue, second time 5, and then I did a whole eyedropper the other night. And 2 out of the 3 times I lucid dreamed, and one of them was cool. I saw a Native American 14-year-old guy, and I walked up. I had my intent because I'm raising the vibration of the planet through dreamwork this month. So I said, "Hey, Native American boy, I'm here to raise the intention, the vibration of the planet." But then I started second guessing myself, and I said, "Wait a minute, maybe it doesn't need to be raised. Hey, do you know, is it okay for me to does the planet need to be raised?" And he turned around to me and he goes, "Yes, it's healthy for the vibration of the planet to be raised." So that's about as far on the conversation as we got. And I thought that was cool. So back to you, Dylan. You were asking about, it is a tincture. Yes.
I love that. And you said Gil's trying it out too?
Gil used it once, but he used it right when he went to bed, which I think he was fighting against his first natural sleep cycle, would be my theory.
Yeah, definitely let me know. Because like I said, I made mine into a tea, but I got the actual herbs themselves. And then I would make it into a tea, and then I would also roll them into a joint. So I would smoke the joint and I would drink the tea right before, like maybe an hour before bed. So I make up that there's probably a lot more of the herbs than inside that tincture. But you're also a very avid lucid dreamer already. So I'm sure if anything, it'll just maybe prolong the experience for you to stay in there a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But yeah, for somebody who's not, like for me, I use cannabis a lot. So I would need these herbs to even remember my dreams, because cannabis is a big stunter for it, which is why I really found out about that.
Yeah. You bring up 2 things, and just to remind everybody again, Dylan, this is his site here, Shamanic Ananda. So if you want to see more about him and his wife and what he does, so he does a lot of great work at shamanic work. So you heard him talking about he knows these substances. So I'm glad he's able to chime in. But he mentioned staying in the dream. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. He mentioned staying in the dream. And at this point, we saw the poll. I never dream versus I dream but don't remember it. Or I'm lucid in my dreams. Or when I'm lucid, I have my intention, like I had with that Native American boy. And I was like, hey, this is why I came. This is my mission. Because you can be lucid and then all of a sudden you just walk out around like a dunderhead, and then you wake up and you're like, crap, I just wasted the whole experience. I was lucid in there. I didn't even go flying. I should have flown or something fun. But the next one is I started dealing with this dilemma where I get lucid, and it's almost like the more I was lucid, the quicker I would wake up. Because my brain it's like my ego got involved and said, oh, I was trying to get out of the Truman Show. And all of a sudden it was trying to pull me back into reality because I was almost finding the door. And so I looked it up using ChatGPT. I said, how do I stay in a dream? So one of the ways that Dylan mentioned I saw when I was looking at the herb was it can help you maybe prolong the dream experience. And the other way, if you don't have a dream herb, because you don't have to have a material for everything, or if you've got to compensate another way, these are the 2 techniques I used. One was I said, lucid dream stay. So make it pronouncement in the dream. And it was funny because the day after I saw that technique, I was in a dream and it started lifting, like I could see light coming in. It was starting to dissolve and wiggle out like a Salvador Dali melting clock picture. and I said, lucid dreams stay. And it stayed a little bit longer. And the other thing I did in a separate dream was it's like I could feel a comforter on my bed. So I was like in between worlds. And and it was in my dream too. So I was like was it Lacey? I was in a dream within a dream. I was waking up in a bed, but it was really a dream within a dream. So I started grabbing my comforter and touching it, getting all my 5 senses in the dream world active. I was looking at stuff. I was focusing on it. And I said, I'm here. I'm in this world. It's kind of like when someone like Dylan or another practitioner would say, you need to ground yourself. And they're talking about maybe in this world, ground yourself, ground into the center of the earth. But you're doing it in the dreamy astrally area. You're trying to ground there. So staying in the dream is a thing. And that conversation gave us a little bit on that. What I want to do now is flip into the main title of this, the lucid dreaming and the wake back to bed method. I do this pretty much every night now. I go to bed probably the latest 10 o'clock, but usually 9:30 or so. I spend about 10 minutes or so just sitting up in bed, meditating a little bit, because I just like to do some things like going over my day, things I'm proud of that I did, things I'm grateful for I did, being a good vibe. But I guess from what I was listening to in the Abraham Hicks stuff, she was basically saying, hey, you got so much momentum going from the day, just go to bed and then wake up with a fresh reset. So I pretty much get to bed pretty quick. I wake up naturally around 1:32 in the morning, groggy. I don't beat myself up if I can't remember a lot of dreams, but I am diligent if I have a fragment to try to record it. And I'll get into how to record it in a second, which is where Jeanette's at, I think. And then I might have some dreams. I might have several dreams. I go back to bed. I wake up again probably around 3:30 or 4. Now this time I wake up and I say, if I had to go to work right now, or if I had to get up and do something, like we've been having a guy come over in the morning and do meditation early in the morning, I could get up and just do it. Even though it's 4 in the morning, I had my rest. My body's good. So now I'm in control of what I want to do. I go outside sometimes. Sometimes I ground. We're in Mississippi, so it's not that cold. Even if it was, Wim Hof, just get out there and get cold. It's good. Come back in, and I will sit in my bed, and I've meditated sometimes up to an hour, but really, not to freak you out, if you just meditate for 15 or 20 minutes, and for me, Gil's got a lot of meditation, by the way, on his Gil Hodges Freedom site. In fact, we're putting tons of meditations out there, so go out there and subscribe to that. But in his meditations, he has breathing in there, so I'll breathe. I won't do a lot of crazy breathing, but just in and out till my body's almost humming. I can almost feel energy coming up and down my body. It just feels really coherent. If you're into Joe Dispenza, getting your body into coherence. And I get into that meditative state. And right now I have this, I'll throw this up there. I have this December dream challenge. And so I have this intent. Let me throw that up there real quick. All right. Not that kind of throw up, Gil. Gross. All right. Let's see. Yoga Ananda. Pull that one down and go to this right here, by the way, is my dream stream. This is the thing I'm most proud of. If you were to get involved in something I'm doing that I'm the most proud of, it's my daily dreams. I'm putting out a dream every single day. And they're fun. Look at this. This one I was like in the 40s, and there was all these nurses and stuff. Guru on the mountainside, portals. That's actually when we were building the retreat center, dreaming the pearl together. So all sorts. I've got 80 dreams out there published already. So if you subscribe, go out there. Sometimes you can get the 7-day free trial thing, but if you have to commit to payment, just do a free, put your email address in there. I'll see it come through, or ping me and I'll give you like 7 days free. You can just go try it out because I want you to be in there. I want folks to have access to it. It's a side thing. If it brings some income for me, that's also nice for me. But here's what I'm really focusing on. December Dreamwork, a month devoted to raising the vibration of the planet. I decided after Dylan and Heather came, and we did some ceremonial experiences, one of the things I wanted to do was merge my mission of raise the vibration of the planet, which is whenever I get conscious in this state and say, who am I? What am I doing? I'm like, here for the transition of the eras. I'm here for galactic contact coming about. I'm here for raising the vibration of the planet and having dreams that are private to me, but also believing that as I fix stuff and let stuff flow through me, it's healing Lacey, and it's healing Nick, and it's healing Michelle, and it's healing Jeanette and Gil. It's like going into the collective morphonogenic field, and it's going to all of us. Have you ever seen that experiment where they did something with rats in America and it affected the rats in Britain and they were thinking the same way? It's that collective consciousness. So going back to wake back to bed, it's now 3:30 or 4 in the morning. I'm awake. I take this intention and I say, I intend to raise the vibration of the planet. I am open for my dreams to assist with the raising of the ascension of humanity. Bring those dreams through, heal me, bring me messages that I can, through my throat chakra, I can speak out into my phone, that go into a post, that go out into the world, that people will subscribe and read. So different ways that people take in the knowledge through the technology or just feeling it through the field. Oh yeah. And so Gil's my co-host. Thanks, Wingman. So he just reminded me that in the chat, we have some links to these things like this dream stream and some other things too. So I have an intention. And then, so I guess the context was maybe I'm meditating like 20 minutes, getting coherence, feel that hum up my body, feel really good. I'm rested. But even though I'm rested, after a little while, I'll start feeling it. I'm sleepy. I want to go back to bed. And I got the luxury. It's 4 in the morning. I don't have to do anything. Gil isn't in there knocking on my door saying, get in here. We got to do some computer work on my website, which he doesn't do ever. But I can go back to bed. When I do, then I'll have my third dream cycle, second. So that's 1, 2. At this point, I'm waking up and going into at least my third dream cycle. And that's the one where I have 2 types of Dylan. He brought up this word distinctions, I think it was, learning how to distinguish between things. And I brought up earlier before you were on here, Dylan, I said, I was bringing up this herb, or I was bringing up something. I said, I'm not a shaman, but if I did, I'd probably have more distinguishing terms for these things to differentiate. I think we were talking about Lacey's. She had a dream that was like she was astral projecting. It was like, where are the differences between astral projecting and dreaming? That's something that we can grow in our understanding as we experience and document. Let's see. I'm waking back bed. I go back to, so I have 2 ways that I enter the lucid dream state. One, I call it just walking into the dream. So I'm meditating. You ever been on one of these meditative journeys that Gil brings you on? He'll be like, all right, imagine you're on a meadow, or imagine the river of God and you're jumping into the river. It's like that. You start imagining some scene. And for me, I like to start with a dream door. And I think I got a picture of a nice door. So one of Gil's books is this choice book. Look at that door. That's like a dream door. So you're standing in front of your dream door and just imagine the door opening up in front, and you just open it up and you walk into the dream world. So you're intending to walk into the dream world. And then they say in meditation, when you start dropping from that beta awake state to that alpha liminal meditative state, you start seeing ideas. It's like clouds passing. And they usually say, just don't attach to it. Just recognize it. There's a cloud. There's a thought. So for me, the other day, I had a dream and I just saw a landscape, and it was like, we're watching Poldark. So it was like those English cliffs. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And then I saw another image. It was nighttime, and it was like an island, and there was a light on and a house on the island. I was like, oh, that's cool. And finally, there were like 5 of these things, 5 of these landscapes. And then it's like my dream world was crowded, and I was in the midst of just lots of stuff, lots of places. And it's at that moment I said, oh, I think I'm fully in the dream. So I call that walking into the dream, because I don't really know the moment I became fully in the dream world, but it's like I went from waking state to sitting in my bed to meditating, and I remember the progression back, like I walked towards it. Now the other one, I call it the teleport open, like with a hyphen in between. It's like I teleport in there. So I'm meditating and I'm doing the dream door, but then all of a sudden a bunch of things happen. Maybe a whole dream scene goes by, and I realize, I look around and I go, I'm in a dream. But I can't remember exactly how I got there. So if you saw the movie Inception, where they're like interviewing this girl for the dream work, and they're in the middle of the interview, they say, how did you get here? And she's like, she doesn't remember. And they had drugged her to be in the dream, and she just didn't realize it. So the interview was like interview by fire. So it's like that. I'll just be there. And how you can realize that you're in a dream, this is something you can do tonight and you could do this week. So here's a tool to write down. It's noticing absurd things. So Gil, you did a message the other day on angel numbers. Like it was like part of your message, and seeing the 111 or 1111. I think it was 1111 you were doing. And you look at it and you go, it's an angel number. That's weird. And then sometimes people just stop right there. It's, no, what is it? What are you thinking of? Like maybe that was a message for you. Same thing in a dream. When you see something in a dream and you go, that's weird, then ask yourself, am I dreaming? Now, your reaction right now, if you're not used to this, is that's great, but I never ask myself that question. I just take it as face value because you're asleep in the dream. Just like a lot of us live our lives and we're asleep in our lives. We don't question, why am I here? We don't meditate to be the observer of our lives. Same thing in the dream world. We just take it at face value. Oh, look it. Santa Claus is walking around. I keep using Santa Claus, but some weird thing. Like, okay, here's the weird thing I saw the other day. I looked on the ground. I was in this cream-colored room. There was this belt buckle, a brown belt buckle, and it had crab legs, and it was scuttling along. And these crab legs were made of poop. So it was like, it's gross. They were like poop links, and it was like, and I was like, that is just so weird. Oh, am I in a dream? And all of a sudden I became lucid. That was my lucid moment. I think if you go on my dream stream, it's called the Dumb Lucid Experience, DUMB. It stands for Deep Underground Military Base, because the rest of the dream I was in a deep underground military base or one of those places the elite build and go if they take over the world, I don't know. So I was in one of those, but that was the lucid moment. And how you can practice getting in the lucid moment is, let me ask you guys, have you ever heard of the lucidity technique of looking at your hands? I see a nod from Gil Hodges. Oh, because I told you. Back to you guys. So what you can do in the wake, you could do this right now. In fact, do this right now. Put your hands in front of your face and look at your hands. And how many fingers you got on your hands? You probably have 10. And then just flash them like that and do it one more time like you're doing a magic trick. And ask yourself the question, am I dreaming? You can even do it a third time. Am I dreaming? Now, if you want to look like an idiot all day long, do that about 10 or 15 times a day. And at one point when I was practicing this particular technique, I just, every once in a while, I'd look at my hands and be like, oh, am I dreaming? Am I dreaming? You can say it under your breath so no one's looking at you. But in the waking state, reality feels pretty solid. If you keep looking, you're going to have 10 fingers each time. But I have lucid dreams. I think I recorded one of these where I did that. All of a sudden I was in the dream and I just happened to casually look down at my hands. But because of now this is good programming. Gil's always talking about the bad program we're trying to do. This is a good program. Program yourself that when you look at your hands, you ask the question, am I dreaming? You're setting an intent. And so I do that. I go, oh, am I dreaming? And guess what happened? The first time I had 10 fingers. The second time I had 12 fingers. And there was like a tree branch growing out of my thumb. And it was like, oh, that's weird. That's because I'm in a dream. That's why it's weird. That doesn't happen in normal life. And so I was lucid. So I'm going to stop there and just ask for some questions. So far, we've gotten kind of with the wake back to bed method. The extension is that sometimes I'll wake up again. I've woken up as late as 6:30 and gone to bed from 6:30 to 7:30 and had the coolest lucid dreams. Let me open it up for any questions you want to ask at this point. Jeanette was wanting to recall her dreams. So we talked about my technique, and I think you were saying, Lacey, you did this, and we set it up. Here's my phone. I just go into my phone. I have, let me go back a screen there. I have Apple Notes right there. I click open Apple Notes. I have a dream journal in there. So December dream journal. And I just get it set. Like tomorrow's going to be the 8th. So I say, hey, 12/8. I do a couple other things, which you may or may not do, but I like to set it on that portrait lock mode, because sometimes I'll wake up in bed and I'll lie on my side and the whole screen's going catawampus, and I don't like that. So I set it on portrait so it'll stay put no matter what orientation I'm in. I also set it on airplane mode, so Gil can't ping me all night about stuff he wants to do tomorrow, because he's real diligent to get stuff done. He's like, don't worry about it. It pings. It makes me think about it. So I put it on airplane mode. I keep it right on that thing, and then I just, the other thing I do is low light, so I don't wake up to just blaring lights all the way down. And then I shut that puppy off. And then the other thing I like to do is I bought this, again, it's another thing you don't have to buy, but this is a Faraday bag. So it's supposed to be one of those like cages where those EMFs don't bug you, that radiation, because I put it right next to my head pretty much. Just fold that thing around, I put it right there. So I wake up, grab it, just unroll it, pull the phone out, open it up, low light, portrait mode, start recording the dream. And I use I don't have pencil and paper. I don't type it in letter by letter. I just go ahead and speech to text that thing. And as I start talking to that thing for sometimes up to 10 minutes. And then for my dream stream, I'll use ChatGPT to make it legible, coherent. So the authentic part is it's my dream. The inauthentic part is that ChatGPT ghostwrites it for me. The cross between the two is that I use ChatGPT to make fun illustrations. In fact, let me just go ahead because we are getting to the end. I'll do a little bit of sharing of. Oh, good. Let me get to that. I'm going to get to your question in 1 second. Let's see here. Let me just share this as I'm in this quick little thought, and then I'll end it up to your question here. And yeah, so I mean, like these dream posts, this one here was like in Teen Titans Go. I take an artistic direction. So I put fun pictures in there to make it fun to read. This one's like Star Trek The Next Generation, things like that. So I'll use chat to do a little bit of that, but I kind of have a fun creative process of making that. All my screens went away, so I got to put them back up real quick. Oh, sorry about that. Hold on, zoom, there we go. The zoom there. Everybody's over there. 1 second. Okay. And Gil, am I still sharing? Because I just went to blank screen. Okay, there we go. Good. Anyhow. Yeah, quick plugs. There's things in the chat. I have a dream stream, December Dream Challenge. Follow me at my Dream Journalist DJ Dreamy Facebook, and then you'll see the daily reels that come out with some fun music and reminder of the dream. Let's see. I have 6 books that I made, and here they are. Tomorrow, December 8th, through the end of the month, you can get them for free. They're ebooks, and I'm going to have the audiobooks coming out soon. But here's one I just came out with, The Lucid Dreamer's Journey. So it has 26 of my posts and 4 or 5 pages on some of the tips we're talking about. Other than that, I got some books about a lot of times I'm a secret agent in my dream and I have superpowers. I can do all sorts of fun superpowers. Lacey, you're talking about what can I do in a dream? You can grow your superpowers. Sometimes I'll reach my hand out to try to like make the forest. Gil's over there and he might have this what is that? That stevia soda drink I like. And I put my hand out and I go, I'm in the real world. I can't just make it come to my hand like I do in my dreams. But in my dreams, I can do that type of fun stuff. I have 2 books on learning how to fly. So Flying Dreams, The Pearl Dreaming Us, about dreams I had before coming here. And Dreaming with the Galactics, the one I'm most proud of right now, about contact with aliens and galactic councils and all that stuff happens in my dreams. Or does it happen for real, Lacey? Am I in an astral realm? I don't know, but I'm going to find out as I explore. So the question that came up in the chat, I'm going to unshare that. Oh, so if you go out to that smashwords.com, that's the publisher that's offering it. I have all 6 books for free. Go out there and just download them in the next few weeks. Give them as a present, Christmas present. You have my blessing. Enjoy them. Just get to know my dreams and maybe they'll help you and maybe you'll want more of it. Have you used melatonin as a way for lucid dreaming? No, Dylan, I have not used melatonin as a way for lucid dreaming. I think I've had melatonin just because one of my kids was using melatonin. I was like, let me try some of these, see what it does. But I generally haven't had trouble going to sleep, which was what typically we were using that for. But from that question, I might look into melatonin, and you all might too look into melatonin as another viable way to induce lucid dreaming. Dylan, did you have anything you wanted to say about melatonin?
Something I know about 5-MeO-DMT is that melatonin helps activate or reactivate those experiences. And usually these happen between 2 and 4 in the morning when someone has the most melatonin being released in their system. So I was just curious if that had to do with one's dream state, because people who have these reactivations, and some have them every night after their experience, and they tend to love them, especially if they had a really powerful, positive experience. They tend to mirror that inside their experiences. And I don't know if they're in a dream state or I'm not really sure exactly what's going on in those spaces, but I feel like there's some kind of parallel or similarity between what you're talking about and what goes on in those other altered states.
Yeah, I heard some guy who was like kind of really well versed in distinctions between astral and dream. He was like, yeah, when you're dreaming, you're like in a dimension of he mentioned dimension of the astral or something like that, but a dimension of the real world, but I couldn't quite tell versus astral projection. In fact, when Nick was talking about taking a dream course, and I took one when I had a Mind Valley subscription for a year. It was a dream course, and it was right after I took an astral projection course. And actually, those two folks, they're divorced now, but they got married to each other at one point. So it's like a husband and wife team, each in their little genre of astral projection versus dreaming. So anyhow, and we were watching Doctor Strange the other night. Am I in the mirror dimension or am I astral projecting? Is like all those little distinctions, or Loki does bilocation versus whatever. He has all his distinctions. So we're coming close to the hour. Let's go ahead and ask for another question and then we'll end up. Oh, let's see if they're saying in the chat. And I'll look at my thing here. Dream Machine, early dream. Oh, let's go back to Lacey. Lacey, what do you want? Like, what's your next frontier in dreaming? Either based on what I'm saying or what you know or what you say. No, tell me something else.
I guess to understand them more, like we're doing right now, in a way, because I get so many dreams. What you're saying, I get a lot of dreams in my night, or I don't know if they're scenes, but I have a lot of parts that are different, or different parts of a dream that are different entirely. And I'll sometimes wake up at 3 or 4 a.m. sometimes, and then I'll go back and then I'll have another dream. I'll write it down. And I just find it fascinating. And like I've thought about even with recently ChatGPT and dream interpretation I've been doing. So that's been really helpful to see things I haven't noticed or wouldn't have noticed before. So like combining like the intuition and those places like you're saying in the beginning where I noticed something about a certain scene and I'll talk with ChatGPT about it and be like, yeah, but I feel this way about it. And it will critique it a little bit to more of what I was getting in that part. And if I'm like trying to remember the dream, I'll develop it more as I'm like writing it out. I'll remember more of it as I'm writing it out. So I don't know if that's a question. Yeah, it's very comprehensive, certain parts of the dreams I have. You can see you're in it. You can see it vividly sometimes. So I just can't wait to explore more.
That's cool. Yeah. And yeah, even if you don't agree with ChatGPT, it's like it gives you now you could just take it with face value and be like, okay, that's what ChatGPT said. I will obey whatever ChatGPT said. Or you can use it as like rigor. I don't know about that. And have a little discussion with it. Yeah. I'll plug this dream stream again. Here's one of the articles I put out just the other day, the shuttle to 80,000 feet. And this girl here, Marie Swaz, she's purportedly an extraterrestrial from the Targeta system. And so I'll have dreams of her sometimes. And I think I got a little thing for one of her crew. So anyhow, I had this dream about her and her crew, and she's hugging me, and that's nice. So I tell the dream and I put different things in here. But we're talking about, and I got a chat too. The chat, whether you're paid subscriber or not, you can go in the chat, you can share dreams. In fact, one lady shared a dream with me, and then I put it together and I said, hey, can I feature your dreams? Up here at the last page, I have some featured dreams. So if you want to feature if you want to do a feature, send me a dream. But anyhow.
So Nicholas,
sir,
I wanted to jump in just real quick and just say that you're asking people about what their next is with the dreaming. And one of the things that I would think would be very interesting is having a group, because I think you have a very unique perspective on the dream world, and you're very active in it. And you've already drawn this group of people together. You've got people that are getting on your stream, your Substack and all that. But to actually grow this group and to have more meetings and just getting together just to talk about these and to hear everybody share their perspectives and what they're learning, what they're getting. I think there could be a lot of breakthrough in this area just in conversation and just being in groups where, hey, you guys are all into Dreamy, you like it, and let's talk about it. Let's see what we're learning, what we're getting, and what kind of cool things did you learn this month or this week? But anyway, I think you got a great start to something that you can continue and have just a lot of input to what the dream world's about. So anyway, you're really liking this, so it's very cool.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Gil. And yeah,
and you're still sharing your screen.
No, okay, yeah, I'll finish on that and I'll make a comment on yours and then we'll just wrap up. I think the value of the dream stream starts off with you tell a dream. So people can just vicariously, if they don't dream, say, what do you dream about every night? Not that I'm all important, but I'm an example. She had some kind of alien virus. Okay, that's why that's there. But what kind of things do you dream about? You dream about people with alien viruses on their leg. And then after that, I have a little bit of interpretation. So you might be able to grow in some interpretation. You see a dream, it's okay. What did Nicholas, this interpretation is a little bit more from ChatGPT, but then I have down here the DJ Dreamy spin. And that's like what I'm learning, either interpretation, but the other thing is just the mechanics of how I go about it. So this is one of those dreams where I woke up a little heartbroken. So the energetic charge. And I share my experience about what it's like to grow in my dream work. And then I have a couple of dream questions that help you relate it to your waking life. Because people are usually like, what's the return on investment? Where's the application? What's practical about dreams? The questions are things that help make it practical. Going to what Gil was saying, again, so ask ChatGPT to interpret stuff. I wouldn't want to be in the place of interpreting everybody's dream. What I bring to it is someone who's a practitioner. I'm actually doing the stuff, like I'm doing the dreaming and I've done it for a long time. And then you all are coming into it as well at different levels. So depending on what level you are, it could be that we take up Gil's suggestion, and maybe because I'm here at the Pearl and he's helping me put stuff together, you might see a dream circle emerge that we could join and all discuss our dreams and actually grow as people, and maybe fulfill some of my December dream challenge of raising the vibration of the planet. Much like Gil, he'll write a book, and like he's proofreading it as I'm doing the audio book. And I joke with him. I say, hey, Gil, I read this great chapter from this guy. And he's like, yeah, I'm learning a lot from it too. And he can't wait for his groups to start in January, authenticity groups at gilhodgesfreedom.com, because he goes another layer into his own book by learning it with a group of people and actually turning it from heaven to earth, those theories into action on this plane of existence. So maybe you'll see a dream circle open up. If you want to go to the dream stream, you'll see just some of these skills that I'm learning along the way. I thank you so much for joining me for this hour. Maybe we'll do another one on a different topic, or maybe we'll do something more rhythmic, like a dream circle. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and end the recording, but feel free to reach out to me. You can reach out to me on my Dream Journalist DJ Dreamy Facebook page. Follow me on it, message me on it, and we can talk further. Have a great night, everybody.